Arsenal are one player away from winning the Premier League. Yes, just one player. They've already made two signings confirming Trossard and Jakub Kiwior. I'm probably butchering his name, but we've got the center back, the left-sided center back, and the winger. Two really good players for the depth of the team, leading forward for the rest of the season, the second half of the season with Europa League, FA Cup matches, all that bunching up. These are two really good signings, and Arsenal are also in the race for Fresnada from Rayo Valladolid. From Spain, the youngster as well, the right back, they're in the race, leading it with Dortmund. He's probably going to choose between one of the two teams because they both have the same offer and all he has to do is decide, but he will be loaned back, apparently back to Rayo Valladolid to finish off the season. But Arsenal are really one guy away to win the Premier League, and that is the two people you saw in the thumbnail. One of those two players would absolutely make Arsenal win the league 100%. I would put $1 million on it if I had it, because Declan Rice and Kamavinga are both players that occupy the position that Arsenal have very low depth. They have little to no depth. Arsenal, aside from Partey and Xhaka that play those positions, have Sambi Lokonga and Mohamed Elneny, who are two players that, in my eyes and many other Arsenal fans' eyes, they aren't good enough to be in a Premier League winning side. I think anybody could agree. Sambi Lokonga, yes, he's young and he could develop later on. In my opinion, he needs to go out on loan to, Marseille or something. They always take Arsenal players, but this lad has not, fulfilled so far what Vincent Kompany said he was going to be. He said he was the next Yaya Toure, and he has been a shell of that. 100% away from that. That is not Yaya Toure, alright? That's maybe Kulo Toure in the midfield, but that is not Yaya Toure. Understand? And Mohamed Elneny, he's getting older. He's not a world-class player or a class player. In my opinion, he's more of a... he doesn't really deserve to be in the Premier League right now, in my opinion. Sometimes he gives you great performances, like last year he was bossing up Man United. He had a good run of games, and then the gas runs out because he's not used to playing week in, week out. He plays like once every so often. And I don't want to have one of those two players in Xhaka and Partey go down with an injury, and we have to put in one of these two guys, an inexperienced Lokonga, who's a shell of himself, not yet developed, or Mohamed Elneny. Please, I don't want that. We need one guy, one midfielder. And Arsenal are, leading the race, apparently. Declan Rice, right now, is leaning towards Arsenal over Chelsea move. But the thing is, the only bad news about that move would be it has to wait till summer. West Ham do not want to negotiate. They won't even pick up the phone for Declan Rice if we called. It's almost as if you were getting at a girl with a girlfriend right there. She will not pick up unless, you're a 10 out of 10 and she's a 5. You get me? But Declan Rice, the phone will not be picked up unless, Arsenal come in and say 200 million, which is not going to happen because the fee would be around 80 million. Around 80 million. So, that's actually a pretty good deal, considering he's English. I'm not going to lie. I thought it was going to be 120. That's when Man United was interested. They were saying 120, 140, 150, around that kind of fee. But it looks like Arsenal and Chelsea are calling in, and the fee has lowered. Haha, Man United, hold that. But anyways, Declan Rice is a young player who you could have for the next 10 years at central defensive position. He's a guy who's had World Cup experience, Euro experience. He's even had European football and the Europa League experience. He is a very experienced player for his age, and I would love to have him. I know a lot of people call him overrated, but in my opinion, you got to look at the English tax. 80 million. If you can get Declan Rice for 80 million, it's not a bad deal. And the fact that he's leaning at Arsenal over Chelsea, mostly because Chelsea is going to be 10th and Arsenal's first at the moment. And the worst case scenario for Arsenal is they get top 4 and don't win the Premier League. And the best case scenario for Chelsea is they get Europa League. And I'm sure this lad says, if I want to play Europa League, if I want to play European football, I want to play Champions League and not Europa League. And that's why he's probably leaning towards Arsenal. And as well as that, he's got a lot of players around his age, and imagine him and Partey in the midfield. You got Odegaard, you got Saka, who he's, has chemistry with from the England squad. Eddie Nketiah, they don't really have too much, but, in the England squad, when they were younger, Eddie Nketiah and Declan Rice played together. Then you got Martinelli. Then you got Ben White, who's been, in the English team in the World Cup and some friendlies. They are familiar. It would just be an overall great signing. And we all know Mikel Arteta's very high on Declan Rice. And he would fit it. He would fit. And if we had Xhaka, Declan Rice, Thomas Partey in the midfield as options, I think we would just need one more. Maybe Sambi Lokonga finally develops. But man, if we can get that lad in, this Arsenal team will not be played with at all. But the one option that is a little bit more realistic that I did cover was the Kamavinga loan. But there's a lot of bad news with that topic. And there's a little bit of good news. Bad news is time's running out. Let's not lie to ourselves. It's like a week or less than a week left for a loan for Kamavinga. And then the bad news is reporters asked, Real Madrid players, the agent, they said Kamavinga staying. They're not letting him go for a loan. They're not about to get Odegaard again, where they loan out a player that's struggling to get minutes and they sell him for a very low fee. They do not want to get mugged again. Highway robbery was pulled in broad daylight when we got Odegaard for about 30 million. 30 million for Odegaard's absolute steal. He's right now in contention for the best player of the Premier League. The season ended today. He would be in that discussion. 30 million for that, mate. Anybody takes that. But, Kamavinga is a fantastic player, struggling to get minutes. And I kind of thought it made sense for both sides if Kamavinga went to Arsenal as a loan. Because I do understand they are saving up Kamavinga. Well, not saving him, but they do want him still when the Champions League fixtures, La Liga, cup games, all three of those just are congested on you. And you're just like, wow, the squad rotation has to be, fluid. And, Real Madrid have made 0 signings this January transfer window. And for them to lose a key player like Kamavinga would be bad. But the thing that I do see that would make sense is they are also very interested in the likes of Enzo Fernandez, Jude Bellingham. And if they wanted to go after them, Kamavinga completely falls out of the picture. Because if right now he's struggling to get minutes, and I know more games will come and more minutes will come, well, if you get one of those two players, they're going to eat up his minutes. And if I were them, I would send him to Arsenal, and I would go for it because, Real Madrid has the P's, obviously. If I were them, I'd loan Kamavinga with an option to buy or an obligation to buy that's a really high fee that gives them profit. And I go use that money for Jude Bellingham or Enzo Fernandez because they seem to be higher on those two players than Kamavinga. But Ancelotti said he's keeping Kamavinga, no chance he leaves. The agent said that. But the good news was there was a post an Arsenal fan made, and it was about the Kamavinga loan. Arsenal are interested. They want to bounce on that. And you know who liked that post? Or it was a story on Instagram. Kamavinga himself liked it. So, obviously, there's a picture of him. He's got an Arsenal poster in there. He's probably an Arsenal fan. And, the lad probably said, I would like to go to Arsenal, but I'm under contract. They won't let me go, so there's no chance. But I'm going to leave a little maybe in the future if they sign, Jude Bellingham or Enzo Fernandez, we could talk. And, yeah, it would be fantastic. And if I had to choose between either Kamavinga or Declan Rice, that's a tough choice. And, it's lovely that we're top of the league and we get to make these choices on some class talents right here to come in. I would love both, but Kamavinga or Declan, I would probably have to go Declan Rice. I feel like he would fit. He would adapt quicker. He's already in the Prem. He would adapt a lot quicker than Kamavinga. I think Kamavinga would take time, but Declan Rice would come in straight away, hit the ground running. I know that for a fact. But anyways, leave a comment down below on who you think would fit better on the Arsenal squad right now. Declan Rice or Eduardo Kamavinga. Who do you think would fit better? And who do you think is better in general? But anyways, leave a like and subscribe for more videos. And thank you guys for watching.